It feels so right. Back together, my friend. Welcome into this week in what is a very special show for me and also for my guest because it's a hybrid show. Welcome to Gridiron Icon with my guest, one of my first guests ever on Gridiron Icon, the scout, Daniel Kelly. And we are going to mush these things together because we are now the hosts of the Dirty Pocket podcast together. Our friendship grew into football screaming matches on podcast. So welcome into the scout and the writer of the Jets, the Lions for Sports Illustrated, and several other titles that I could give my friend. But my man, welcome back. It's great to reconnect after a couple weeks.
Hey, thank you, Stacy. It's great to be back on the show.
Love it, love it. So we're doing something crazy.
Or shows. Here. I mean shows.
Shows, yeah. Plural. I mean,
as in plural.
We're going crazy here. We're mushing Gridiron Icon, which usually has guest interviews, and I wanted to have one of my original guests on, who now is also my partner on the Dirty Pocket. So boom, here we are. And folks, for those of us joining on Gridiron, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify, Apple iTunes, we have a tradition over at Dirty Pocket that I'm going to use in this show tonight. Mr. Kelly, Scout Kelly, what are we drinking tonight?
Well, it's a mystery because I have a, if you can see here, it's a southernmost point because we're not far from the most southernmost point in the United States of America, only 90 miles away from Cuba. And there's actually a buoy at the end of the island that's exactly the most southernmost point in the country. And this cup, well, it used to house something alcoholic, but tonight it's not. Tonight it's housing lemonade.
Solid. We're a couple weeks into January. Oh, it's lemonade. Okay.
This is lemonade. Yeah, but I mean this cup originally housed something alcoholic, but now it's lemonade. But it's like a straw and stuff. So, but it's got lemonade in tonight. So I'm doing something a little bit different. I have never done lemonade on a show before.
Wow. So I mean, we're honored. We're honored. Usually you come with, one of the definite leaders in the soda pop industry. God, did we say that on the West Coast? I don't even know. So I came ready tonight. I'm drinking Zevia. Hit us up. Let's be a sponsor.
There we go.
Gridiron Icon, their Dirty Pocket podcast. We got two of them. So good. We're both tame. Lemonade, some ginger root beer. My God, what has happened to us? We are boring. Let's liven this thing up. Somehow.
I tell you what, you hold up that can. What was it called again?
This is called Zevia. Do you guys have that out east?
No, we don't. But you holding up that can of Zevia. Have you seen the Truman Show, the movie? That's exactly what it reminds me of. All of a sudden, you just impromptu hold up this can. I'm like, really? What are you advertising?
You do it to me every week on the Dirty Pocket. I wanted to get you here on Gridiron Icon. Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. What a weird hybrid melding of our worlds this is. The Truman Show, we could go off for an hour about that. Literally the last year has felt like the Truman Show.
There we go. Sometimes I take it left just to see if the guy will follow me.
I love it, man. So yes, for those just listening in, my guest and my partner in this weird hybrid format is Daniel Kelly, the scout. He is down there in Florida, Key West. I'm out here in the Pacific Northwest in the Portland, Oregon area. And my man, it's time to talk about some football. Let's talk it. It's been a big week. I've been wanting to get your thoughts on a couple of things, and I didn't want to wait for our own show, so to speak. It has been a big, big week as a couple of things have transpired. The NFL playoffs have kicked off.
Playoffs?
Yeah. Oh, Jim.
Playoffs?
Mora's in the building.
Playoffs?
and we had something that you're familiar with from your time in the front office there for the Jets, Black Monday. Oh, yes. Doggy. It has been interesting. And we made predictions earlier on our other podcast about some of the guys that were and weren't going to make it. And do you know that we are sitting at 100% right now? Everything we called has come to fruition. I don't think we saw Brian Flores coming.
No.
So we can't count that one in Miami. No. But everything else we predicted, man, has happened. And so I wanted to
mirror on the wall.
It's crazy. Maybe we know a thing or two. We're going to claim it.
Well, at least we think we do.
So that's right. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. That's all that matters.
Oh, my. So I wanted to focus in on one team that's had nothing but endless distractions this entire football season, and that's the Las Vegas Raiders. I've been bothering you as someone whose aspirations are to get back into the front office, not as a scout, but as a general manager. And
right.
You've got some stuff brewing in your world. We'll leave that alone. But how about the Raiders, man? I want to just ask you personally right on the air. Mike Mayock is out. I'm assuming he's going to go right back to NFL Network. I don't know what else. I like Mayock, but he's out in Vegas. Are you interested in moving? Can you talk the wife into moving to Las Vegas?
Yes. Y-E-S, yes.
I love it, man. So you, as a guy who's been a lifelong Washington Redskins, Washington football team, there we go. Good Lord.
That's changing too.
Yeah, the new name is forthcoming. It's just days away at this point. Mm-hmm. But as a guy who's been just a diehard, bleeding burgundy, so to speak, can you see yourself in the silver and black? I mean, they've got an interesting base of talent there. They've got Derek Carr, who's he's going into the last year of a 5-year, $125 million deal. If you're sitting in that chair today, are you keeping Derek Carr?
Yes.
Interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah. After what he showed this season, no question about it.
Wow. What do you think that he showed this season that would say, let's keep Derek Carr around? He's the guy that's going to lead us to a Super Bowl.
Just an unbelievable amount of maturity and an unbelievable amount of leadership to be able to steer a team through all that kind of adversity. The amount of adversity they went through this season was just wild, to say the least. And so for him to be able to hold that team together and they didn't fall apart, that was really Carr holding that thing together. Yeah. And I just feel like he has an ability to lead a team like very few quarterbacks do. And I like that about him. I like Derek Carr, and I think he's the quarterback for the Raiders. Quarterbacks are really hard to come by. They're really hard to find. And when you find one, you should keep them. You need to do what you can to keep them.
Yeah, I would think he's earned the right there. He played.
That's his team.
Yeah, he is inconsistent. I think that it'd be fair to say about him, but his leadership and the way he carried that locker room through a major coaching scandal, through a player actually killing someone negligently after drunk driving, another teammate in our net who's waving around guns on social media claiming to kill people, he gets cut. Then you had another teammate whose name escapes me off the top of my head, who was also busted in an auto situation. It's insane what Derek Carr was able to do to even get the Raiders in this new 17 format into the playoffs. And
right. I agree.
It's crazy. Now they're going to have to pay him, obviously, and he's coming off a big deal. So I want to get into personnel a little bit as a scout, even though we're not going to go deep on each of these players. But I know that as someone who's been a scout and continues to scout, it's of interest to you. But before we go there, if you're keeping Derek Carr in Las Vegas, are you keeping Rich Bisaccia, the interim head coach?
I think so.
Wow.
I would like to sit down and talk with him. I really would. He's a very intriguing individual. I saw something on Twitter the other day that said that he sat down in his hotel room and wrote handwritten notes thanking all of his players, for the season. I just feel like the team responds to him, and I feel like there's something to him, and all I hear is positive things about him. So I'm not one of these guys that has to be all caught up in the big name guys and, let's look into the recycling bin and see who's in there, and what kind of names from the past we can bring in here. I like something new and something edgy. And he seems to fit that description. And, I would just like to sit down with him and talk with him. And, I think he's earned the right to another year.
Wow, big endorsement. So General Manager Kelly arrives in Vegas. He keeps the starting quarterback in Carr. He keeps Bisaccia, gives him another shot to lose the interim title. Mm-hmm. With that in mind, why do you think that they canned Mike Mayock? Do you think that he got a raw deal? He was 25-24 as the general manager over 3 years. Of course, the rumors are that Mike was a figurehead, that Gruden pulled all the, he made called all the shots, I should say, particularly on those first couple round draft picks. But Mayock hit on a number of picks. In the 2019 draft, he got Max Crosby in the 4th, Hunter Renfrow in the 5th, but completely bombed out on Clelin Ferrell, which I think was someone you scouted during that time period and didn't have a high grade on. So that matches. In the 2020 draft, Arnett, who's waving guns around on social media and gets canned, was chosen with the 19th pick. And then but earlier in that same round with the 12th pick, he chooses Henry Ruggs, who's also out of football because he killed a woman drunk driving. So that's the 2020 draft, not far removed. 2021, Mayock again shocks everybody and drafts Alex Leatherwood entirely too high in the first round. He completely struggled at tackle in the NFL, and he's already moved him to guard. But I think the point I'm trying to make and pick your brain on as a former scout, he hit on a lot of his late round picks. He even neglected to even bring up Foster Moreau at tight end, Brian Edwards at receiver, Trayvon Moehrig in the 2nd round. In free agency, he brought in people like Yannick Ngakoue, whose name I completely mispronounced, I'm embarrassed to say, Zay Jones at receiver, Deshaun Jackson, brings in Casey Hayward, who had an impact. As a general manager, did Mayock get shafted, or do you think that they pulled the plug entirely too early on him just based on some of those first-round draft picks completely imploding?
Yeah, I'm in favor of Mayock in this one. I think they pulled the plug too early on him.
Oh, wow.
This is a hard thing to do. Evaluating is difficult to do. And you touched on something, that is not easy, which is finding guys in the later rounds and guys that are lesser known. That's the true mark of a good evaluator. It's once you can pick those type of guys and they contribute. That's why with the Jets, changing scripts for a second, I've blasted the organization for drafting Zach Wilson, but I've also given a lot of credit to Joe Douglas as an evaluator because he's brought in a lot of these different guys, the John Franklin Myers of the world, the Braxton Berrios of the world, these type of guys that, Quincy Williams, he brought in from Jacksonville, guys that were either on waivers or, low round picks or, he's able to put these guys in the field, able to produce at a high level, for them. And, getting back to Mayock for a second, I think that when you show that you can do this and show you can find talent, yes, they pulled the plug on a little bit early. My gut instinct is, Stacey, is there's more to this story that will come out down the road, and there's something more to this because, frankly, I was surprised that they let him go. And I don't know if there's something lingering from the whole scandal it's going to come out or what it is because him and Gruden were joined at the hip. I don't know, but it just doesn't add up to me.
Yeah, it's a good point. I was actually surprised. I thought as somebody who was packing his bags to Vegas and getting the wife ready that you were going to say, fun. Yeah, that Mike, I could see you, man. I could see you being
absolutely.
Silver and black.
Because here's absolutely. Because let me give my elevator speech. How I can win the Super Bowl for the Raiders next season. No, I'm serious. These programs.
Is Davis listening? We might want to get Mark Davis on the phone right now, but go ahead.
Absolutely. When these programs, when I see Twitter, okay, I watch Twitter and I watch what fans are talking about, and people are talking about these rebuilds and we're in the midst of a rebuild. Hey, listen, if you're in the midst of a rebuild, you're dealing with people that simply don't know what they're doing because people have come into organizations and turned them around and taken the championship games or Super Bowls within a year or two. I mean, Bill Parcells did it with the Jets when I was there, taking over a team that was 1-15 in 1996, had us in the AFC Championship game in 1998. Look at Arians. He came into Tampa Bay. Next thing you know, they're winning the Super Bowl. It doesn't take that long. So, yes, I can win the Super Bowl next season for the Las Vegas Raiders. And the thing that intrigues me about that organization is the DNA of that organization has always been different, going all the way back to Al Davis, just win, baby. It's always been different. I love different. I fit different. There's only one of me in the world. And I think what we can do, just like there's one of all of us, what I think we can do is we can put together something very special and very unique that can blow the doors off the National Football League.
Interesting. And you think you could do that with Derek Carr, Josh Jacobs? You've got some pieces, even at the wide receiver positions. We mentioned Hunter Renfrow, Zay Jones.
Absolutely.
Interesting. Maybe one solid draft under your belt, and you think
we will be in Arizona for Super Bowl 57, holding up the Vince Lombardi Trophy if he puts me in that chair.
Okay, Mark Davis, there's your chance. Here is your chance. Get with us. Drop us an email. Let's get the scout Daniel Kelly in for an interview. In Raider Nation, what say you if you're listening to this? What pieces do you need? What do you think the Raiders need at this point?
Well, you know what's funny. Let me give you one last tidbit. This is something nobody in the country knows. Okay, so turn up the volume. I'm gonna let you know a little something that nobody knows. Okay, Al Davis wanted to hire one person and one person alone. His name was Bill Belichick. How do I know that? His office is 2 doors down from mine at the Jets. Okay. My interview at the Jets came down to me looking Bill Belichick in the eyes and convincing him to hire me, which I did. 2 + 2 = 4. I'm the guy for the Raiders. I can do this.
So you think, okay, man, that is a teaser to Raider Nation. Are you saying if we got you in as general manager of the Raiders, you'd place a call to Bill Belichick and, maybe he's your coach? Okay, there you go. The wild and crazy things of Gridiron Icon when it meets the dirty pocket with Daniel Kelly.
See, this is a hybrid show.
It's a hybrid show for sure.
When you think of hybrids, you think of Micah Parsons, who had 0 sacks in the playoff game.
Oh, no.
You know what I mean? When you think of hybrids, you know what I'm saying?
Parsons was getting blocked by Brandon Ayuk, too.
Oh,
some
wait
interesting
a second.
clips of him getting driven off the ball.
Don't get me started on that, because our little hothead number 11 down in Dallas took a swing at Ayuk. And did you see that?
No.
Oh, no, I put on my Twitter today. Yes,
okay.
I have video footage of Mr. Hothead, the guy that I've talked about extensively. It's just a matter of time before he just implodes. Down in Dallas. He took a swing that should have got him ejected, the same kind of swing that Cardonius Tony took and got him thrown out of the game when the Giants played Dallas, but the refs conveniently missed this one. But if you go back and watch it, he cold-cocked him right in the head.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to have to go check out your Twitter.
Absolutely, yeah. At Daniel Kelly Book. Go take a look at the footage. I mean, it's right on YouTube. It's not something I doctored up or photoshopped. It's right on YouTube. But, yeah, he took a swing right at him. I mean, I pushed him a little bit. He came back with an overhand. So I put that on my Twitter today. And you got to go take a look at that. You might have missed it because I'm sure the telecast didn't want to touch on it too much because they're too busy preserving the fantasy about Micah Parsons.
Oh, man, did we just somehow we went from the Las Vegas Raiders and went
let's go back to the Raiders.
So Micah Parsons wormhole, man. Listen,
you said hybrid. You said hybrid.
Anybody who listens to the Dirty Pocket knows that Micah Parsons has been fodder in a lot of subject matter for several episodes.
Is he a linebacker? Is he a defensive end? No, he's overrated. He's overrated. Overrated.
On and on.
Overrated.
Okay, so Raider Nation. You heard it here first. I too think
we'll win it. We will win it.
Okay.
Raider Nation, I'm going to hand you the Vince Lombardi Trophy next season.
Mark Davis, drop us a call, man. Drop us a call. We'll connect you with the scout here.
Absolutely.
I love it. Okay, man. Well, enough on the Raiders. I think they're an intriguing story moving forward. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what they do with Bisaccia and Derek Carr. Is that NFL Films music? Is John Facenda going to enter the room any minute now?
Raiders. A certain amount of mystique still lingers in the name.
Imagine that. A guy who's connected to the Joe Gibbs legacy is humming Raider tunes now.
The Redskins traded my favorite quarterback of all time, Jay Schrader, to the Raiders, so why not?
I remember it well.
It was
nice.
the day my brother was born, in fact. It was December 5th, 1988. It was right around that time period. Because I remember, I came home from that day from the hospital with my dad, and there was an autographed picture from Jay Schrader waiting for me with the Raiders thing on. It was right around that time period, I should say. But he sent me an autographed picture from the Raiders. Schrader did.
Wow. We are dropping all kinds of names tonight. Micah Parsons, Jay Schrader, Bill Belichick. My God, somehow that's just what the Raiders do. The mystique, you start off talking about Raider Nation and you end up pulling everything into its vortex, man. It's just the mystique of the Raiders. And I think they're going to be very interesting to follow over the next couple months. And we'll do some coverage here on the NFL draft, who you think that they should take. I think they're a couple players away, but they got to the first round this year on some pretty gutsy performances. So, speaking of the playoffs, as promised, we have to cover at least two games. We're going to take one out of the NFC, one out of the AFC in the interest of time. Let's start with the NFC, and I bet you don't know which game I'm going to choose.
Well, here's what the funny part about this is. So my wife, Samantha, right? I told her we were going on doing the show tonight. You know what she says to me? She goes, "Oh, are you going to talk about the Rams?" See the kind of reputation you have?
Whatever it takes, man.
That's a great book, by the way. That's a great book. Whatever it takes.
Whatever It Takes is a great book by Daniel Kelly. Just find it on Amazon, on the website.
What a transition. Look, that's
incredible. Think the author will even autograph it for you. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, the Rams. I mean, I'm sure you're dying to talk about the Rams. I mean,
we got to talk about this. Come on, this is a big.
Look at the background there. Look at the background. Look, folks. Look at the background.
I've been following them a few decades now.
Yeah.
But let's be honest. We have a world-class matchup coming up this Sunday between Tom Brady and Matthew Stafford that I think is worth getting your opinion, your thoughts on, and really. Both games in the NFC are incredible. I actually think there's a lot to talk about in the Packers versus 49ers too. I find it interesting. And the reason I think you should find it interesting, Mr. Washington football team guy, is that three of these coaches come from the Washington football team tree. And we've got Shanahan, LaFleur, and McVay. I mean, Dan Snyder, what the hell were you thinking? You had a staff like that? And they all got away. Subject for a whole nother show.
Well, I would like to credit Bruce Allen, the former general manager, president of the Redskins, a guy who's been demonized and villainized out there by most of the national media. A gentleman that brought me in and interviewed me in 2019, shortly before he was dismissed. And I mean, that's a great job by him bringing those guys in at that point.
That was a heck of a staff, man. Heck of a staff. So basically, if you're a Washington football team fan like Mr. Kelly, the scout, this actually has some interest, some implications this weekend. They're all beating each other up in the NFC now. So we've got Sean McVay going up against Bruce Arians, Rams versus Bucks. The Rams beat them, I believe, in week 3 of this last season, 34-24. Tom Brady in that game had to throw the ball 55 times just to keep the team in the game. They had no running game. But during those passes, he was sacked up to 3 times, pressured countless others. Fournette had not really found his rhythm in the offense. What say you about this matchup coming up in your experience in the NFL? Can the Rams beat them again? Neither of the teams look like the same teams, but hey, Tom Brady, the GOAT, is quarterback of one of them. He also happens to be the reigning Super Bowl champion. What do you see in this matchup, man?
I'm sorry, but the Buccaneers are going to win.
Wow. Okay, so he's picking the Bucs. I never one to, spare my feelings on these situations. He's just spitting truth. It is in Tampa. I have to be honest, as someone who tries to remain unbiased, that I really looking at this matchup as a toss-up. I think it comes down to, can Stafford not revert to Detroit Lions Matthew Stafford and start throwing interceptions? Because if you give Brady extra possessions, forget it. Just forget it. Forget it. But the Buccaneers are playing. Their offensive line is banged up. Their starting Pro Bowl center and Tristan Wirfs at right tackle, both nursing injuries, may not play. Their running back room is depleted with Fournette, Jones. They were down to a third, fourth stringer in their last game against the Eagles. But you see the Bucs winning. Tell us why.
Tom Brady.
Well, what do I say to that?
I mean, this is the time he plays for. I mean, it's like watching Chicago Bulls, back in the day. It's like Michael Jordan, those guys could care less about the regular season. It was like a glorified practice or a scrimmage for those guys. Those guys lived for the NBA Finals when the lights were on. It's the same way Tom Brady is, and he shines in these situations. And he also has a little bit added incentive to be able to continue to show that he was the reason why New England won.
Yeah, with New England.
He's got that chip. He's got that chip. And that chip he's got the biggest chip on his shoulder of anybody in the National Football League, which is why he's the greatest of all time in the National Football League quarterback, because he has that edge. He has that chip. It's not just about guys who can go through all the motions and make all the throws like Matthew Stafford can. Guys that, there's a robotic type of quarterback. These guys we see come out, that are quarterback school guys. It's not that type of thing. I like Stafford. I do, but it's Tom Brady. I cannot bet in good conscience. I don't know how anybody can bet. I know you're a Rams guy, so I understand where you're coming from. But I don't know how anybody can bet against Tom Brady at this point. He's doing what no other human being has ever done in history. And he threw for like 5,300 yards again. That's obscene.
Yeah, look, there is nothing. I'm not a fan of Tom Brady, but I absolutely respect and admire what he's done is insane, not just in football, but in sports. But the quarterback position might be the toughest position in all of sports to play. And he's doing it he's older than all of the other three coaches that are coaching the NFC teams. They're all younger than him. Shanahan, McVay, LaFleur are all younger than Tom Brady. Bruce Arians just happens to be his coach, and we all know that's probably more of a figurehead situation because I think Brady's running the team.
Right. Right. So he's been seeing defenses longer than these guys have been in the NFL.
Yeah.
And so that makes it very challenging. You're not going to do anything to Tom Brady that he hasn't seen before or some variance of it. It's just going to be really tough. And he's playing for a Super Bowl.
I hope that the Rams, from my perspective, are calling Dennis Allen in New Orleans, who seems to be the only guy that messes with Brady on some level. And they're like, have him in the office this week and they're picking his brain because you're right. Tom Brady isn't fooled by any. He's seen it all. Now, the one thing I will say is if the Rams front four with Donald and Floyd and Von Miller, if those guys can get after him 3-4 men at a time and they flood those zones, they pack those zones with DBs and linebackers, I think that the Rams stand a pretty good chance. I think the Rams have more talent across the board. But look, my heart, says one thing, but I'm right there with you. It's two words: Tom Brady.
Guess who's back?
Yeah, he's about to start singing, folks.
Back again.
I will say you this, man, because you were around for this. At some point, Joe Montana's run came to an end. You remember when Leonard Marshall hit him from the blind side and was a 91
in the Meadowlands? I remember it very well.
So at some point, and you can probably guess that I'm secretly hoping it's a guy wearing number 99 from Los Angeles, is going to end this. Father Time is still undefeated. Brady is, man, he's dancing with the devil. But at some point, doesn't it have to end? Can the Rams be the team to do that? I think it's going to be a big game Sunday, man.
Yeah, it will be.
Big, exciting game.
It will be.
Exciting
It'll
game.
be definitely one to watch for sure.
So you got the Bucs, and I am absolutely on the fence. I know that shocks you, but I
see that tells me, Stacy, that your head and your heart are saying two different things.
Oh, they are. I'm terrified of Matthew Stafford. Terrified. One minute he's Dan Marino. the next minute he gives you 3 picks, and you're just sitting there going, what happened? And Todd Bowles, the defensive coordinator for the Bucs, is not a slouch. He's a player,
right?
Or
and guess who's looking pretty good right now?
No, are you talking about on defense for the Bucs?
No, I'm talking about me.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I'm talking about
me. That you're a big Todd Bowles guy.
For that too. But another reason I'm looking pretty good right now, I just saw an article today about OBJ.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and all of a sudden he's gone from somebody who a fading star to probably being maybe the highest sought after free agent receiver there's going to be this offseason. And from what he's done with the Rams, and it was a certain somebody. It's a certain somebody said that the Lions should claim him off of waivers, and they did not do it.
I remember that very well.
We talked about it on the show. It's in print on Draft Diamonds. You can type in Daniel Kelly, OBJ, go look it up on Draft Diamonds. But I talked about how they should claim him, and people read me the riot act on social media. Oh, he's, $7.25 million for this guy. No way. $7.25 million in the NFL economy is like you and I spending a $10 bill and a Happy Meal. But I was like, the Detroit need to pick him up, but they didn't. But that's my 2 cents about OBJ since we're on the Rams, I just thought I'd throw that because I just saw that today.
OBJ
and Todd Bowles. And Todd Bowles is great. Todd Bowles, I grew up watching Todd Bowles play number 23, free safety for the Washington Redskins, under Richie Pettibone, defensive coordinator, who was on Joe Gibbs' staff. I watched him back there with Alvin Walton, number 40 at safety, in the later 80s. And Todd Bowles
Walton looked like a linebacker, man.
Oh, he did, with that big neck roll and everything. Yeah. Absolutely. He popped people. He came downhill and popped people. But Todd Bowles learned from Richie Pettibone. And Richie Pettibone was a guy who always was able to shut down the top quarterbacks when Washington played them because he knew how to put spies on guys. He put Monty Coleman, linebacker number 51, on Randall Cunningham and these different quarterbacks. And he was able to shut teams down. I predicted last year before the Super Bowl that Bowles was going to shut down Mahomes in similar fashion. He would drop a game plan to shut him down, and sure enough, he did. I posted on Facebook even before the game so people knew I wasn't a Johnny-come-lately. But yes, Todd Bowles is a great, not good, great defensive coordinator. And he is going to, he's going to throw some things at Stafford. They're going to go back and they're going to look at Lions film. They're going to look at Stafford. Yep. They're going to look for weaknesses. They're going to look for things. And, and Stafford's another one of these guys that's a very well-schooled quarterback. And I even said he could possibly be the NFL MVP last year. Mechanically, he has what it takes. The question is, does he have the heart for it?
Yeah, it's going to be it's the X factor for me. That and McVay. McVay gets away from running.
You're not a big McVay fan to begin with.
Well, I'm weird. It's a love. It's not even love-hate. It's more of a love thing because he drives me nuts when he gets in these play calling ruts where he goes away from running the ball. I mean, there was even a couple of things in the last couple of games that other people went, "Oh, what we won," and I was thinking it was almost luck. He was so situationally wrong with that decision, So I love Sean, and I'm very happy to have him. He brought the Rams out of the basement into Super Bowl contention. But there's times he drives me nuts. He's almost like your little brother. You just want to go, God, when you're watching him. I think that he could out-coach Arians. I think we have more physical talent, but that other team has Tom Brady, and I'm not going to even pretend that I'm not concerned about that. I am. So I am reserving my pick. You'll have to tune in on Twitter, either Gridiron Icon or the Dirty Pocket, to get my pick because I still haven't decided. I know what I want.
Well, yeah, there you go. There you go. Absolutely. It'll be a game time decision, right, Stacey?
Game time decision.
Absolutely. Well, this is an interesting stat, too. I just thought I'd throw in there. TeamRankings.com. I don't get paid a cent for endorsing them, so don't get too excited. But TeamRankings.com is one of the more interesting, if not the most interesting stats website to me. I reference them a lot for a lot of my articles I write for SI Jets and SI Lions because they have a lot of interesting stats that they pull down, a lot of analytics and stuff. And one thing I'll point out that this thing says NFL team passing play percentage. Tampa Bay throws the football more and has thrown the football more than any other team in the NFL this year at 65.65%.
Yeah.
So they're not running a balanced attack. It's more or less, pass. But I find that an interesting statistic because Joe Gibbs, back when he coached, I always remember they put him up the screen, the stats, that Joe Gibbs was about a 50-50 split play caller between the run and the pass. But the Buccaneers have gone exclusively almost, much more to the pass. So expect the Rams to kind of, just right off the bat, to kind of expect maybe them to go into more of a coverage type of defense to try to offset that. Of course, then the reverse psychology of it comes in. Maybe the Rams, remember how Belichick was in that one game against the Bills this year when they threw it, ran. Maybe the Buccaneers, are going to try to trick the Rams and come out with a heavy run offense, because these teams, this is what this is. It's a chess match where both teams, from a game playing standpoint, are sitting there studying on the computer each other's analytics and each other's tendencies and patterns. And, show me how Tampa Bay's plays on 3rd and 8 for the last 8 years. It's like they're going back and forth. But maybe the Tampa Bay comes out with a run heavy attack.
I think you could be right. I think that here's the rub on that. You've got 2 Pro Bowl linemen injured, may not play. You have Fournette and Ronald Jones, the 2 starting running backs, injured, have not come off the injured list yet.
Well, that's probably a smoke screen. They're probably keeping them on there till the last second, right?
Yeah, there's a lot to watch there.
Fournette will play.
And we all know that Tom Brady loves the quick passing game. He made a career of it in New England. So the Rams will have to adjust on how their corners play. They play a lot of soft coverages. It's going to be an interesting chess match, to your point, this Sunday. So we'll be texting each other. It'll be absolutely amazing. I am really hoping that we're the team that ends Tom Brady's run. I really am. But I've said that before and sat there as a grown man crying like a 2-year-old when Tom Brady beat my team.
Hold on for a second. Let me get on my drawer the list of the teams that wish they could have been that team. Hold on.
Yeah, I know. Look, I'm done mouthing
Guess
off
who's
about
back?
it.
Guess who's back?
Yeah. Okay. All right. We got to shift gears because we've given a lot of play to this game. But just looking at the AFC,
well, of course we did.
Yeah. I mean, imagine that. Tell Samantha I did it.
Okay. She'll hear it.
We got to talk. We got to talk about another matchup just briefly that I think really has the potential to be epic, and that is the Buffalo Bills versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Josh Allen, who's red hot, versus Patrick Mahomes, who many still think is the top quarterback in the league, talent-wise. The Bills absolutely thumped the Chiefs in October, 38-20, and it wasn't even that close. There was a late touchdown in that. But with what you're seeing from Allen and what you're seeing from Mahomes, what do you expect to see in this game, man?
Buffalo.
And who do you like?
Buffalo.
You got Buffalo beating the Chiefs.
Absolutely. Buffalo. Put it all together and you get a Buffalo. I mean, I'm breaking. Hey, that was the chance. When I was at Super Bowl 26, when the Redskins played Buffalo, and I went there on January 26, 1992 to the Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome. When I was 18 years old, my grandma gave me a ticket for my high school graduation present, and I was sitting in the corner of the end zone in the Buffalo end zone.
You sound like Sean McVay right now. I mean, that memory.
Yeah, absolutely. Samantha says I'm like Rain Man when it comes to football. I'm like, ridiculous. I'm like January 31st, 1988. Washington played Denver. It was Super Bowl 22, Jack Murphy Stadium, San Diego. Doug Williams, Super Bowl MVP. Redskins 42, Broncos 10. Timmy Smith broke loose. It was over by Chubby Checkers halftime medley. I mean, it was. But I mean, that I just want to throw that in there.
I love it. I love it, man. So you get the Bills.
The Bills. I think the Bills. Yeah. I mean,
Bills look good.
The Bills look really good. And I have to do this on this show. Brian Dabo is a great offensive coordinator. I recommended him when I went in for my interview with Bruce Allen 2 years ago in Washington, and they were talking about getting a new head coach. My recommendation was Brian Dabo. I think he's the most creative offensive mind on the sidelines today in the National Football League. And he has so many – they can hurt you from so many different ways. they never really run the same play twice. They can hit you from 5, 6, 7, 8 different directions. It's really hard to defend against them. Josh Allen is playing really well at this point. I think the Chiefs are yesterday news.
That's interesting, man. The Chiefs really were having a rough time earlier in this season, and they kind of pulled it together. Even the defense has become much, much tougher, but they're going to get tested this week. Josh Allen is not just a run-of-the-mill quarterback, and he's got enough of the weapons. Dawson Knox at tight end has really come on this season, and then he still has Stephon Diggs. The running game is a little, run-of-the-mill, middle of the pack for Buffalo, but Josh Allen, he seems a little magical right now. He seems like he's.
Well, and then we talked about this. We talked about this, right? We've talked about all season. Is you look for the teams that kind of catch fire as you're heading towards the postseason, and he does have that look. To your point, Stacey, he has that Super Bowl look to him. That was so easy for him.
Oh God, it looked like a scrimmage, and they just kept flashing.
And that was against Belichick and the Patriots. Yeah. That was way too easy.
Yeah, that did not look like a Belichick coach football team.
No, it reminded me, as a matter of fact, of watching Washington move towards that Super Bowl I was talking about, where Mark Rippon was on fire, and he ended up becoming the Super Bowl MVP that year in 1992. It's the same type of thing I'm seeing with Josh Allen. Buffalo wins, and the Chiefs go back to being the chefs.
Interesting. So Patrick Mahomes and his boy Kelsey, and that fleet of receivers, all of that at this point.
That does nothing in that kind of weather in Buffalo. That speed game, no.
Tyreek Hill, I think that Sean McDermott will have a plan in place for Tyreek Hill, and he'll give Mahomes the underneath stuff. In fact, we've been seeing a lot of teams do that lately. So, again, are these not great matchups, though?
They are great matchups. They
great storylines.
Yeah, they really are.
Great storylines. So quickly, he's got the Bucks. I'm on the fence. I want my Rams. Get back to me. The scout is picking the Buffalo Bills over the Chiefs. I, too, am picking the Buffalo Bills over the Chiefs.
Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills, Chris Berman.
Yeah, I just feel like they got something going on right now that I think it's going to be a tough game. Mahomes is going to be a gamer, but I think the Bills come out on top. So without all the deep analysis, I'm going to make a run at you on the other two games this weekend. Packers versus 49ers.
49ers.
Wow.
And I'm not a big Kyle Shanahan fan. You know this.
We know this about you from the Dirty Pocket. And on top of that, you've been really complimentary the GM in Green Bay, the way he's handled the team. You've had a recent article on that. And also the way he handled the Aaron Rodgers situation. You still think Shanahan and the Niners in that running game, that smash mouth. God, see this. Why am I shocked? A scout from the Jets who also just loves the Washington football team, the Joe Gibbs era. I got to tell you, man, I'm picking the Niners too.
Wow. See, there we go. And it's not, let me say this, okay? I mean, we all know we're not going to see the Trey package because,
I was going to ask you, do we see Trey Lance?
No, we're not going to see him because the 49ers are actually trying to win, okay? So we're not going to see the Trey package with the three number one. I don't think
we'll ever see it.
The 3 number 1 draft pick Trey package, which, well, whatever. That's for a different show. But there's one reason and one reason alone I'm picking the 49ers this weekend. His name is Jimmy G. And when I saw Jimmy G play last week against Dallas, he, like Josh Allen, had that look to him.
Interesting.
Jimmy G is on a mission.
He wants to keep that job.
He wants to keep that job. I mean, there's rumors that he could be traded or something in the offseason, Washington's in the sweepstakes, all this nonsense. But, yeah, no, he's got that look to him. I can tell when a quarterback has it, Jimmy G has it. The thing about him has always been the injuries and can he stay healthy. And he's playing very good football right now. And he's also playing a very good tempo of football right now. And he's leading the offense in a very good rhythm and tempo right now, which is critically important of controlling the game. and the flow of the game. And Jimmy G's doing that in San Francisco.
Folks, the scout just chose Jimmy G over Aaron Rodgers, who will undoubtedly be the MVP. Jimmy G outduels Aaron Rodgers.
That's
okay.
Right.
I am picking the Niners too. I don't think anything would make me happier and also scared to death than a Rams 49ers NFC championship. We haven't beat them 6 straight times, but I feel like if we're going to meet and beat them, that's the game to beat them. So I'm picking the Niners in that game. Very interesting game in the AFC on the other side. The Bengals with Joe Burrow versus the Titans, and King Henry is back. Who do you like in this game?
Joe Burrow and the Bengals.
Wow, didn't see that coming.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, Joe Burrow's really grown on me. He really has. I mean, I've always liked him, but he's really grown on me. I mean, he's got the second biggest chip on his shoulder in the National Football League. We talk about chips on the shoulder outside of Tom Brady. And what's interesting is I was told by one of my sources that if Bill Belichick ever left the New England Patriots, the job that he would want is the Cincinnati Bengals with Joe Burrow.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I was told from someone at a very high level inside the league. So Joe Burrow's got that edge to him, and he's got that thing, and he's got that connection working, at wide receiver.
Oh God, he's talented.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got that. They got the LSU connection there.
With Jamar Chase.
With Chase,
yeah.
Right. And so
okay.
I just see that being a Bengals victory.
Okay, well, we're split on this one. I'm going to take the Titans in this game. I, too, for the record, love Joe Burrow. I think Burrow and Justin Herbert are the two of the biggest stars this league is going to see over the next decade.
I love Henry. I do.
Yeah.
I think he's the best running back in the NFL. I've seen him run. I mean, he just runs over people. I mean, he's a beast at running back. So it's a lot of it's going to depend on. I mean, if Cincinnati jumps up and gets a couple quick touchdowns, Tennessee's now could be able to sit there and run the football all day, like they probably want to. So
True.
That might have a lot to do with the two.
True. And God, is Cincinnati loaded at the wide receiver position. Man,
they are
loaded outside of Jamar Chase.
Joe Burrow, Cincinnati Bengals, the dark horse team of the NFL playoffs.
Okay, folks. Well, there you go. We're gonna wrap it up, and those were 4 really good playoff games.
They really are.
It's going to be a great.
They really are. They're some of the best playoff games we've seen in a while.
Amen. Yeah. Amen. So there you go. There you have it. Rams, Bucks, Packers, Niners, Bengals, Titans, Bills, Chiefs, and the scout has his eye on the general manager position for the Las Vegas Raiders. What a better way to bring together Gridiron Icon podcast with the Dirty Pocket podcast and my partner, the scout, Daniel Kelly. Great show, my friend.
Great show. Covered a lot of ground.
Great show. Well, hey, if you want to follow us, and we know you do, thank you. Like, subscribe at Gridiron Icon, and also the Dirty Pocket podcast. We're on YouTube in both places. You can find the Scout and his controversial takes for Sports Illustrated for the Jets and the Lions, as well as Draft Diamonds, and his book, Whatever It Takes. Highly recommend that as a read. You can find me at gridironicon.com and the Gridiron Icon podcast. My friend, I look forward to texting during the battles this weekend, and enjoy the football.
Yeah, you too. I got a big controversial take coming out tomorrow morning for Detroit Lions about FSU edge rusher Jermaine Johnson. The guy wasn't, a real quick preview, the guy wasn't even on PFF's radar for the whole football season. 4 days ago, he was number 42 on their top 100 board. Now they got him down to number 29 on their board going to Kansas City in the first round, and I gave him a 5th round draft choice.
Oh, okay. Teaser.
Fifth round.
Look for it.
PFF says first round. I say 5th round. So you're right about the controversial takes.
If they followed us at all, they know that there's been a few takes about Trevor Lawrence and some of those guys. So stay tuned. Okay, there's a teaser. We got to get this thing produced and on the interwebs so that they can go find that article. Thank you for joining me, and for all those listening, thank you. Enjoy the football this weekend from Gridiron Icon and the Dirty Pocket podcast. We will see you next week.
Hey, Micah Parsons, enjoy the game from the couch.
Oh, good grief. Signing off.